Think back to before you had kids, when you were going to be the air quote perfect parent. Remember all the things you said you never do? Well, have you done any of them? Don't feel bad, because we have too. Today, we're letting you in on some of those things we swore we'd never do, just to show you that shit happens to all of us, and that doesn't make you a bad mama. So grab your mimosas, pop in those earphones, especially if you have little ones around, and let's dive right in.
Woo! Cheers!
We're back.
Woo woo. Oh my god, it's gonna get deep, guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village.
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
Oh my god.
Bad mom, like
yeah.
a mile. Yes, because I'm shining. Woo! That was good, guys.
Woo! Season 2.
Season
Yay.
2. My goodness. Finally.
We're
Season
back.
2, and we're still on Zoom.
Ain't that a bitch? Oh,
How was the break for you guys? Did you guys do
Wow.
the vacations and stuff? Did you guys go on any vacations?
quarantine vacations?
I know.
We've gone to the desert. We go hiking. We're going to the lake this weekend.
I'm jealous. You guys are getting it done.
That's nice.
I know.
Okay, so wait.
The
Are you guys-
luxury of RV living.
We have not gone camping. We didn't go on any trips after all because all kinds of stuff happened.
I thought you guys did.
You came to the desert.
You went on trips.
Was that during quarantine?
During the break? No,
Yeah,
it wasn't during the
that was
break.
during
Yes, it was.
quarantine.
It was during quarantine.
That was at the
No.
very beginning.
I'm talking about our break, our season break.
Oh, I'm just trying to make my summer look good.
Oh, I'm not saying summer break. I'm saying the season break. But no, I was
You
supposed
only
to have
had
a
a
4th of
week
July
break.
party. Remember, I was supposed to have the 4th of July party. It got canceled.
Oh yeah, you did cancel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Are you guys still doing your social distancing?
Yes,
Uh,
I still have
Like
yet to
strictly,
go
I
to
should
the
say,
grocery
strictly.
store. I haven't
my
been to the grocery
God.
store since this all went
oh,
down.
I'm proud of you. You
I'm
finally
like
went.
scared. I have anxiety about going.
I'm proud of you because you haven't been since
No.
March, right?
No, and now I'm like even more scared to like go if this all opens up.
That just means you've been spoiled because
Well,
I've had
yeah.
to go.
Yeah, I've been.
But
to
I
it
did
for
when
plenty
it
of time.
opened up for like a week. I went and got my nails done. I got my hair done.
Smart. Before we got locked back
And then
up.
it locked back down. Yeah.
I got my toes done too. But then I was an idiot and I was spray painting and it like
Spray painted
backsplashed
Oh.
all on my toes. Yeah. The next day, it was a waste.
Aw.
Did you finish your bathroom?
Not yet, but no, it got put on pause.
Oh.
So do you
Good.
guys personally know anybody with COVID?
I do. I won't say names because it's top secret. But yeah, one of my friends.
She's keeping
Got
it
it.
private? Is that why you say
Yeah.
top secret?
Yeah, she doesn't want anyone to know.
I wouldn't want to.
Oh.
I'm like, it's not
'Cause they're gonna
fucking
judge you.
HIV though, but like, come on, like it's just you got sick, like happens to the best of us, but she doesn't want anyone to know, and she
Maybe
has
because
it
it's
again.
so-
What?
Oh my God. I was
Mhm.
gonna say maybe because it's so new and people don't really know much about it yet that I feel like people are scared to go like near somebody who's already had it. Because
I didn't know you
look,
could
she
get it
had
again.
it again. Yeah, I actually heard that people can get it twice.
Yeah, she
So
got
are
better.
her symptoms the same as the first
No, they're
round?
worse. They're worse. She got better,
No.
went to work, but she went back to work without getting the test. But she went back to work, was fine for a few days, and then just went down spiral. And
So
it's
she
worse
went and
this time.
infected everyone when she went back to work, or what?
I don't know if she
Like her
infected everyone, but,
employer knows.
yeah, they knew. She
That's
that was the one person that
crazy.
she did tell. But the doctor said that she could go back to work if she hadn't had any symptoms for like 18 days or something. But
Yeah.
now she's like worse, and it's like bad now. It's like causing her to like be like depression and all kinds of stuff. So
I
praying
would
for
be.
her.
Yeah.
I have a family member who has it too, or who had it. And then, yeah, it kind of went around their little family.
Did the
And
kids
he
get
said he
it?
felt like he was dying. Yeah. So
The
now I'm
kids
like,
got it?
no.
Oh, I
I don't
thought
know
the
if the
teachers
kids
got
got it, but
it.
like I know his fiance got it. And yeah, he said it hit him really, really hard. So that kind of made me really, really nervous.
But
Because at
now
first,
he's good.
yeah, now no, he's not fully better though. Like he's got cleared from his doctor to
Like
go back
he's
to work, but
never got
his
retested.
work is like physical, so I guess he has still shortness of breath from the
That's what they
COVID,
said. Mm-hmm.
and so he's now on disability for a little bit until the shortness of breath goes away.
Did he
Well,
get
'cause it keeps
retested?
mutating too.
I'm not sure. Like I would think that they would retest them before they sent them back to work, right?
No,
Because
they
they did
don't
say
though.
he was clear to go back. Oh,
They
they
just
just
go off of the
assume
days.
after
They don't
14
even make you
days.
retest. Yeah, they don't make you. I think that's probably the problem because they're not making you retest, and they're just saying like, oh, if you feel better after this amount of days, just go back. You should be fine, and you're not necessarily fine. I don't think.
What
But
about school? Any word on your guys' schools yet? You the
As
last
of
time you
wrap.
said
right now,
said
yeah.
that they were going to open for school, full school, right?
They were trying to orange, but I think the amount of protesters that were in front of the school district, they changed their mind. Or someone, I think the governor was like, no, we're not having it.
It's only if your county or whatever is cleared from it's 14 consecutive days without new cases. So if your county is clear
Oh,
of
really?
cases like for 14 consecutive days, then they're saying you can reopen, like
And
go
we're
back to
not.
the
We're
campus.
number 2.
And yeah, so as
We're
of
never
right
going to open
now,
up.
like
Never.
Landon School was like, oh, as of right now, we're going back
Prepare home.
virtual. Everything's going to be virtual for
Yeah.
the fall. But he has 6 weeks till school starts. Like their school starts September 1st. So they're like,
Wow.
anything can happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
if
feel like
it
they're
don't open,
changing it every single
it
week.
is.
It's
That's
because
where this comes in.
yeah, because a couple of weeks ago, I mean, a couple of days ago, we got an email saying we were going to do blended learning. So we were going to
Yeah.
go in half days on certain days of the week. And then the other half of the days we were doing online learning. And then literally like 2 nights later, we got an email saying there's no in-school attendance. It's just all online now. So I ended up signing the boys. Well, I'm in the process of signing the boys up for their independent study program because I don't want to mess with this like online stuff. I don't know. Like I'm not a homeschool mom at all, but I feel like if we're going to do it, we might as well do it, or I might as well try to do it right. And like, I'm trying to go down this independent study path and see how this
If it
works,
works.
or if they'll even let me, because I was talking to the principal and they said that they would send me the forms and stuff, but then I haven't heard back from them. So who knows if they're even going to offer that option right now, you know?
Like,
But I'd rather do like the independent study because it gives you like the answer books too. So you know exactly how to teach your kid, you know, it's not just, I don't know. I felt like I was the middleman a lot when I was doing the distant learning.
It was hell.
I felt like I didn't know how to teach them because I don't know how the teacher's teaching them, and I'm trying to teach them old school way and they have like a new Common Core way. So it was getting confusing, you know, and I felt frustrated and I felt bad that I was like drilling them.
Well, I've already reached out to a few of my old teacher homies that are laid off and was like, hey, if you want a job, you can come to my house and homeschool the
shut
kids. No,
up.
I'm serious.
That's a good idea.
I can't do it. Like I already seen the downhill spiral, and I used to teach, but I can't do my own kids. Like
Yeah.
I already seen the downhill spiral, so
They
I
don't
reached
listen
out
to
to like
you.
4 teachers to see if they would be open to just like coming here every day. Like one teacher, like of course we'll do mass, we'll social distance, and then
were
they
they
do a
interested?
curriculum with them. One of the ladies was very interested, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I already know where this is gonna go, and I don't want you guys to come see me on Mamas and Mimosas and I'm like Britney Spears in it with a shaved head and like black circles around my eyes.
No, we'll just be that way, and you're gonna be
I
like,
know.
with your cocktail, all alive and energized.
Mamas, we feel you. We feel your pain for real. This is some crazy way out shit.
Do you guys? Well, I don't know anyone with that's COVID positive. But do you guys know anyone who's currently a teacher or a nurse, like, or works in the hospital? Like, do you guys have family or friends?
I feel like I know people, but they're not working right now. Like, cause one of the girls that I know, or a friend of mine, she's on maternity leave. So,
Oh,
Is she a
she's
nurse or a
lucky.
teacher?
and then as far as teacher, I also have a teacher who's not back from maternity leave yet. So no one yet. Why? Do
Just
you?
because I feel bad. Yeah, I know a lot of like nurses, and I like my sister-in-law's a teacher, and like the stress that's
It's
going on
terrible,
right now. Yeah.
right?
And like the stories I hear about the hospitals, like how it's so like they're
Crazy.
overwhelmed. Like some of them are forced to do things that they're not even educated on really, because it's so they're short on staff. And so if you're a nurse or you're a teacher, like I am praying for you.
Yes, seriously.
Well, speaking of hospitals, okay, during this break, the most exciting thing that happened was my little Max, my 7-year-old son, he got
Oh.
burned by a cup of noodle soup. So let me just tell you the story real quick. So I took it out of the microwave and I put it on the table, right? And I told him, don't touch it because it's hot. Let it cool off. And he's 7, so he's like, yeah, that's cool. And then I went to go put the babies to sleep. And then he went and reached behind it to get the phone that was on the table. And when he pulled the phone back, it knocked over and fell right on his thigh and immediately just singed it. Like he got 2nd-degree burns from it. And I just heard him screaming. So I just picked him up and put him in the kitchen sink, which he's this big ass kid. And I'm trying to put him in the sink, running the cool water on him. Because I heard something like, if it's too cold, it'll affect the nerves, like the tissue. Yeah. And then obviously if it's hot, it's going to cook it. So you want to like put cool water on it. But he was screaming and clawing at me and freaking out. And so then all the toddlers were, because I'm babysitting my niece during the summer. So her and my daughter are freaking screaming. It was just awful.
Well,
and
and Max is your tough one. So for him to
Yes.
be crying.
Yeah.
So then I called Jack, my older son, who's 11, and I was like, call 911, call dad, call somebody, like help, And
Was
I
he
just
freaking out too?
he was trying to help me, but he couldn't find my phone, and it was just a mess. And then
Chaotic.
during that time, I went and I grabbed my son and put him in the bathtub, and then I filled the water up, and he's like still panicking. It was, and then I called 911. And did you know that when you dial 911 on your phone, it automatically like locks your phone into emergency mode? So you can talk on your phone to the 911 operators. And then we got off the phone and I went to try to call my husband, and it was kicking me out. It was saying it's on emergency mode. You could only dial 911. And it was so frustrating because I was like, I need to call other people to make sure that they come and take care of the kids while I go on the ambulance
hospital.
with him.
Yeah.
So I had to restart my phone just to get it out of that stupid emergency mode.
Is that an
And
iPhone?
No, it's not an iPhone. But
iPhones don't do that.
I don't think they do.
You don't know. Try it.
I don't
It was
know.
awful. It was seriously the worst thing. Like, it felt like 5 minutes went by for me having to like restart my stupid phone and then call to see if my mom could come and relieve
And with
me
your
while
nerves,
I go to the
it was
ambulance.
probably,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. But you
So-
did awesome, because the fact that you knew what to do, I would have probably just fainted. Like,
You know,
I
you
would
know
have
what?
freaking put ice.
I did though. So I put the cold water and then he freaking panicked. So I put him on the couch and then I threw a towel on his leg and I put an ice pack, and he still was panicking. So then I put him I put him in the bathtub, and then the police operator told me to put some more like cool water on it. But I briefly remember, because my husband is a paramedic, so he would tell me like, hey, this is what happens, like years ago. Oh, this, if it's burned, you don't ever put freezing cold water on it. So isn't it crazy how your brain just like all of a sudden just kind of
Remembers.
remembers
that's really
little
good.
trinkets of information? And honestly, I don't like blood. Like whenever the kids fall or like bust their lip or something and blood's everywhere, I just like, thankfully Jack's been there, and I just hand him over and I'm like, here, he's bleeding, like take care of him. But when it comes to, I don't know. I think you just know that it's only
Go
you. It
into
was only
mom
me
mode.
there.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to go into, mom mode.
Yep.
No one's else going to take care of your kid.
It's amazing how that happens though. You say what you think you would do, but when it happens, you kick into action, especially when it's your baby. Like,
Yeah.
you turn into a totally different person. You probably turned into a paramedic. You're like, no, I'm gonna handle this until they get here.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
Is he
So what about
better?
you guys? Anything exciting?
No
Well,
hospital visits at least.
no hospital visit, but I yelled at my husband really bad this week. Because you guys know I'm quarantine queen. Well, the listeners probably don't know, but I am like quarantined for real. And my husband let the kids go to my mother-in-law's house and spend the night this weekend
Without you knowing?
without
telling
telling
you?
me. I woke up. They let me sleep in because I never sleep in, so they let me sleep in on Saturday, and I knew like it was too quiet. I'm like, what? So I woke up to like no one in the house, and then he calls me and he's like, oh, what do you want to do tonight? Let's have date night. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I just dropped the kids off at my mom's. And I was like, what? Like, I went crazy. Like, are you kidding me? Like, she's been going everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I made sure she's been in the house for 14 days. Her and my dad haven't went anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, basically when he told me what his purpose was, why he did it, because he knew I was on the verge of a mental breakdown, and he was like, you needed a break. He was like, I had to if I would have told you that that was my idea to take them to her house, you wouldn't have let me, and it would have turned into an argument. So I just decided to just go do it myself and deal with the repercussions later. Yes. So he was like, but you needed a break. He's like, you've been doing this because usually, the kids will go, like they'll go with my mom or they'll go with her. But since this has happened, it's been ongoing, like in the kitchen, breakfast, lunch, dinner, doing this, keeping them busy constantly, like no break. And he was like, you needed a break. So I was like,
Good for him.
I know. I was like, okay, I feel bad now and they were fine. They like went swimming, and it was good for them too, because they came back and they were like, we had so much fun because they haven't been anywhere. So they were able to go like in her pool, and they were in her pool like the whole time until it was time to get out for dinner. And then we picked them up the next morning at 6. But it was much needed. Like I did need it. Like I was able to like woosah and not worry about what I'm about to cook, who's coming in here telling on someone. So yeah.
So now does your mom want to take them for the weekend?
No, my mom says she doesn't, because she has a cough that she's had for like 3 weeks, and she's been getting tested for COVID and it come back negative. But she's like, until I figure out what this cough is, I want to stay away. So my mom is like, she's been good about it. But yeah, so.
And the kids don't ask to go back.
They
now that they've been released.
Yeah, exactly. But they're about to go out of town again. So I'm like, nope, definitely not.
Yeah. Then they need another 14-day reboot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or recharge. So let's dive into the topic of never would I ever. Marianne, did you think that your mom was perfect growing up, or did you see her make mistakes?
Trying to think back into like when I was younger. When I think about like my mom and how she raised me, I mean, yeah, I saw her make mistakes, but I also I feel when I think about it, I feel like I didn't see much of her because she was always working. But when I did see her, it was like trying to just enjoy her. So it's not like I knitted kind of thing at her mistakes. But I think about like as I was a teenager, like I saw more mistakes, but that could also be because I was a teenage girl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to say because she just passed away. It's like she was perfect, but I don't I'm sure now that I'm thinking about our other episodes, like how she favored my brother more or things like that. And so now that I'm a parent, I always told, before I became a parent, I always said, like, I'm never gonna favor a child. Like,
you have favorites?
Yeah, or I don't know, or I'm gonna try to be there more often. But because I'm a parent now, and I see why she had to work as much she had to work because she was basically a single parent. like she did it for our own good kind of thing. So I think, I don't know, it's hard. This is kind of hard now that I'm thinking about it. Mind you, it's coming up to like her 1 year anniversary. So it's like,
I know. When is her 1 year anniversary?
next month.
In September?
August. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I haven't seen my family, so now it's starting to like sink in. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, before I became a parent, I always like, not even with my mom, it was just things that like I would see other people do, like when I would see kids on their phone at a restaurant or whatever, I would always be like, oh, I'm not gonna let my kid be on the phone, or they're not gonna be like glued to the telephone like that, like whatever, you know. But it's funny because now that I'm a mom,
you're like, here.
Yeah, my kids love the phone and love YouTube, and it's sad because my second one is like, Levi's 18 months right now, and he's bad. Like, he will throw a fit. And we talked about technology in like one of our other episodes, but because now we're
he's bad into technology, or he's just being bad?
No, and like he wants the phone. Like if I turn on the TV and we have smart TV, so I can even put YouTube on the TV.
But he wants the phone.
He wants the phone, and he'll
because the
throw
older
a fit.
sibling, I think. Right?
I don't know, but I think because we're in quarantine, like I sometimes use it like in order for me to get ready. That's like
as
the
a
only
crutch.
way. Yeah, that's and if my husband's not home, like, and I need to do something, like they'll play with each other like as much as they can, but he's like, as soon as he sees the phone, he's like, whoa, 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 like watch. He wants to watch, and I'm like,
he says whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, he says whoa, whoa, like instead of water.
Cute.
He says watch, and I'm like, no, and he'll start crying and throwing a fit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just talked about this in like one of our episodes, and he's getting like that, and it's hard, like, but yeah. And I remember, like, I always said I'm never gonna let them watch the phone as much or whatever, but I mean, my oldest one's not as bad. He loves to play outside, and the little one too, but
girl, you're not alone. Don't feel bad.
I
know.
You're not alone. There's so many moms that listen on here that are like, I give my kids we have all of them.
It's
all the
so funny
parents.
because now Landon is asking for a TV in his room. And I always, even when he was little, I always told my husband, no, we're not having TVs in their rooms. We have a TV in every other room. They don't need one in their room. So it's funny because I'm still sticking to it. I'm like, he's not going to have one in his room. But I think, like, yeah, because they're so little, I'm sure I'm going to have more mom fails. But I remember that was one thing that I was like, I'm never going to let them blah, blah, blah. And now a new one that just came up because my husband's getting into hunting.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
He got like his...
Over quarantine?
Yeah. Our neighbor got him into hunting. So yeah,
cool.
And I'm like, whatever, like it's a hobby for him. He likes it. It's not like video games, which he used to do before. So he started saying, oh, I'm going to get Landon this little gun. And I'm like,
great.
No, I do not want him to have a gun. I don't even trust him with a Nerf gun. So I don't know. So that's like one thing that I'm like, I would never, as a parent, like let him have a gun at the age of 5. Yeah. And but I mean, I've said before, my husband's in law enforcement, so he knows like the safety rules and stuff. And we have a safe, and he's like, well, he will only have it when I'm around and it's controlled and da-da-da. And I'm still like, no, I do not want him to. But
yeah. But there's kids, like I remember a little girl came over our house. She was in the 2nd or 1st grade, and her mom was telling me that she was part of the National Rifle Association, that she goes shooting with her uncle who's a police officer, and like that she has won all these awards already, and she was like
Wow.
6, and she's been shooting since she was 5, and that she's like kick ass, you know. And I was like, oh my God, that's so young. I can't even imagine. But it's like a sport, I guess. And yeah, it's not like she has it under her bed. It's like obviously in a safe with her parents, and they take her shooting to the shooting range when it's appropriate, you know?
Yeah, so that's what he's saying is like, it'll be in a controlled environment. He would never have access to it unless I'm right there, like with my hand on him. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm scared of like guns, so.
And you know, it's just so different because of this whole, like, now he's into hunting. Like, there's people out there that it's not even a big deal, like, because they all hunt, you know, and they start young. It's just
Second
that
nature
in
to them.
our area, it's so bizarre, but I'm sure in other areas, it's second nature. So
so that's like one thing I'm struggling with right now is like, I'm like, I'm sure he's gonna go and buy one regardless of what I've said, but I don't know.
Do you have a gun? Has he bought you a gun yet?
He's asked, and I'm like, no, I don't want one. And he's like, dude, when shit hits the fan, you're not
gonna wish you had one.
Because he's like, here, my rifle came in, touch it, da, da, da. And I'm like,
I
tap it.
It sounds so dirty.
I know. Which rifle, Marion?
I know. Tap it.
Oh God, I'm getting hot.
Tap.
So yeah, I don't have
my
one.
God.
He wants me to have one for my protection, and he's like, you know, there's crazies out there, and if shit hits the fan, you need to know what to do. And I'm like,
at least how to use it.
You know what?
At this point, I feel like I'd rather die than shoot somebody.
Oh my God! Not when it's to protect your kids.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'd protect them, but I'd rather them like shoot me than them.
Oh my God, Marianne!
I'm like the type that already has an exit plan. Like, I already know I have multiple exit plans in my house. Like, I know if they're coming from this room, like, I know where I'm gonna go, and I have like know what I can grab in that room. Like, I already have that premeditated.
That's
like,
really good.
If there's a fire in this room, I already know, like, if I'm in that room, I will, like, I'm that type of person that I already know my exit plans for each scenario, supposedly, hopefully.
And do you happen to do that when you go to different restaurants too? Like, do you spot out like the exit, or?
I know where the exit is, and if we're at a table, like, if my husband's with us, we always sit where he can face the door, or if he's not, then I can always face the door. Like, I see who's coming in, or like I can see what's happening at the entrance, and like that's
and
I'm so opposite when you're with him though. Like,
when I'm with him, I'm more
you don't look for the exits.
No.
You're like, he'll help us out.
He's more aware of little things like that than I am. Like, I remember when Landon was small and I first took him to Costco, and I had him in, you know, the cart, and he was big enough to sit in the cart, and I let him go with the cart through the cash register, and I was on the other side where you pay, and he's like, don't ever leave him in the cart. Like, you don't know.
I always do.
Yeah. And I didn't think of that. Like, he thinks about things like that. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But yeah, he was like, something can happen to him. You never know. There's so many people at Costco. Like, he can get grabbed out of there. I'm like, he has the belt on. And he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, don't let him go through there. I'm like,
yeah, that's because
So yeah, he's more aware of little things, like, but because of his profession.
Yeah.
So
makes total sense.
It's so funny because when we go to restaurants, I'm like that one that wants to face a wall because I don't want to see everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be, I want all of us to be in like our own little bubble and just pay attention to each other and focus and not be preoccupied with everybody around us, you know?
People watching.
You know when you look up and somebody, like, your mouth is open and you're full of lettuce, you know, and you're about to take a bite, and then somebody makes eye contact with you, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's so awkward." So I just like hone in on the meal and my family, and that's it. I don't want to see anybody.
Yeah.
How funny.
So I don't know. Like now, I mean, I'm still a work in progress. So I
Aren't
don't
we
know.
all?
I'm sure
Okay,
there's other things I'll have to come up with.
so those are your never
Never.
say never.
I
You've
always
said
said
never.
never with the phones, which was a major fail. And currently, I'm saying never with a gun.
The guns. Yeah.
The TVs, I don't think it's gonna
That could
happen.
change.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm still like sticking to my guns with that
But
one.
is it TV because of their age? Like, so when Landon's in high school and he's like, Mom, come on, I need a TV in my room. Are you gonna be like, no, no, no? I said no TVs, or are you gonna let him because he's older?
Oh, like I had one. Like my mom like never cared. She kind of just was like, whatever you guys want to do, and I turned out fine. I
She's
think,
a very
It's
free-willed and
funny.
free
yeah.
spirit person.
And my husband's like all about TVs, so he's all for it.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting because we were the same way. We didn't want TVs. We wanted it to be in the main room.
yeah,
But then as you have more kids and they grow older, or us, I should say, not you, because who knows. But when we started having more kids and they were growing older and then they wanted to play like their video games and they would just be messy. And then there was like cousins that would come over and you're like, you just want to stick them in the back room to play the video game. So we would be like, okay, just you guys go in that room, so that, because our house is so small, so we only have one living room. Maybe if we had multiple living rooms it would be different, but it was just easier for us to just stick them in the back room on the TV. But we didn't add the TV until my kid was 10. For his 10th birthday is when he got his TV in
didn't
his
he
room.
buy his own TV?
Yeah, he asked for cash for that birthday and he bought his own TV.
Look at him. He was like, I don't care what my parents say. I'm gonna pay for it. They can't say no. We have
Oh, yes,
TVs,
we
but
can
they
say
don't have.
no.
We have TVs in the boys' room, but they don't have like they don't have cable and they don't have like Netflix or anything. So the only thing they could do is like if they hooked up a game to it or a DVD, but it doesn't have like, so they never turn them on in their room. It's just super pointless to have them in there because there's no cable or nothing. They can't do anything with them.
Now that my son's been or like had his TV in the room, I kind of wish we didn't start it. Even though it is convenient to throw them in the back room, I kind of miss them all wanting to be in the living room and playing,
That's
just so you
why
can
I
kind
don't
of
want
keep an
it.
eye on them too, especially as they're
Yeah.
getting older. I want to hear what they're talking about. And, nosy ass mom.
Chisma.
Yeah, but I want to
I need to be all up
know.
in their business.
I want to make sure that they're okay and they're not chatting online with freaks,
Yeah.
Crazy world.
Yes. So now, okay, so then now that you did the things that you said you weren't going to do you have mom guilt over it, or are you just kind of like, it is what it is?
With Levi, I have the mom guilt because I feel like he's so little, but because Landon didn't really get into the phone till he was like 2, 3, and Levi's only a year and a half. So it's like, oh my God. But
Earlier and earlier.
Yeah, I took him for his 18-month checkup like last week, and in the waiting room was another mom with her baby, smaller than Levi, holding the phone to the baby so the baby wouldn't be crying. And I was like, okay, I don't feel as bad.
Oh, the baby couldn't even hold the phone. She had to hold it for the
She's
baby.
little. It was a baby. Like, I want to say like 4 months, 5 months.
No.
Don't
Little.
judge, because
Okay,
there's
I'm
listeners
not-
on here
okay.
that probably do that.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, it gave me peace of mind because I'm
But
like,
it made
okay,
you feel like, okay, I'm not alone. Like that.
Like
Yes.
I didn't feel bad for like feeling the way I did with Levi because I saw that there was like she was smaller, but I still did bring it out for him at the doctor.
But you know what? Come to think of it, people like put like music or Baby Einstein or stuff like that, which is like age appropriate. Like they have Baby Einstein for like if you're 2 months, if you're 3 months. So maybe
He
it was Baby
likes,
Einstein.
I don't know if anyone knows, it's like Coco Melon or like
Yep,
Baby
we know
Shark.
that.
Yeah,
Coco-
that's what he's all about. So it's like
Coco Melon. Oh
Yes.
my
It's
gosh,
like-
my daughter is
They have all
obsessed
the
with
senior
Coco
stuff.
Melon.
he's about that, and I'm like, man, I don't remember Landon being like this, like wanting
Melon.
it so bad. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
like the most mom guilt I get over it.
I don't feel bad because there's other moms out there with the same guilt,
Yeah.
with the same guilt.
What about you, Roni? What I feel like I'm spilling all my struggles.
So for me, I think growing up, I think I said watching my mom like drink, I was like, I'm never gonna drink in front of my kids. That was clearly a lie.
Even have a show with
I
drinks.
tell them to go get it. Like, can you go get me that Truly out of the refrigerator, please? But growing up, I would remember seeing my mom, and I'm like, I'm never gonna drink in front of my kids because I feel like once you get to that point where you start changing a little, I'm like, I don't want them to see me like that. And granted, I don't think my kids have ever seen me like tore up drunk. But they have seen me drink when I said I was never gonna let them see me drink. And I remember my mom would cuss like a sailor
When
and
she
I'm
was
like,
drinking?
no,
Or
just
just period?
general. Yeah, in
you're
general.
Oh,
growing
okay.
And that was another thing that I was like, I'm not cussing in front of my in front of my kids. That was a lie too. But
The
it's just
results say that is a lie
right,
too.
exactly. It's just so funny how you see, your parents do stuff and you say you'll never do it, and then you end up doing it. Um, what else did I say that I'll never do? I also said that I would never cook different meals in the house. Like, because when I was growing up, whatever my mom or dad cooked, that was what I was eating. Like, it was no, okay, we're going to eat this and I'm going to cook you something different. It was like,
Oh
either
yeah.
you eat this or you don't eat.
Yeah.
You go to sleep hungry. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make my kids eat whatever I cook. No, I like me and my husband may eat something different, and then I'll cook them something different, but only because they have allergies
I was
too.
just gonna
So,
say that.
so
Yeah.
like that's a little bit out of my
And yours
control.
are not just like allergies. All
They're
your kids
ridiculous.
have like
Yes,
crazy allergies.
crazy.
They're like
Like who?
deathly
Yes,
allergies
Like
too.
who's
one's
allergic
chicken,
to
one's beef, huh?
one's seafood, one's pork, and one's beef?
It's
Come on, like
Oh
really? For real? Yeah.
oh my
So
God.
basically we pretty much eat the same thing. Um, but yeah, I remember saying that like my kids are all gonna eat the same thing, but it's out of my control. What is something I said the tablet too, the iPad thing that I wasn't gonna let them do that. They do it. I also said
They do it.
they do it. It happens. One of the things that is so funny because I had to do this the other day, and I didn't have to do this with all my kids, but that little one, that little girl, I always said like I would see parents like count down for their kids, like they'll be
Mm,
like 5, 4, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not counting down. I'm just about to snatch you up.
yeah.
No, I count down to Harley. I count down, and the little heifer lets you get to like 1.5. Like I have to, like,
shit.
those
You go
parents
to
that are like,
half.
yes,
Oh my God,
You
Roni.
need to go back to our discipline episode,
I
Roni, and
know.
take some
I
notes.
know. I said like I was like, and I had to laugh at myself the other day when I got to 1.5 because I'm like, she really is like challenging me and making me do the half numbers, and like I said that I would never do that, but each child I noticed is like very different. I never had to count down, but with
Now,
her,
do
she
you
had to
feel
count.
okay, because now we're older with these younger kids that we're tired and we kind of surrender easier. You know what I mean? Like with our first ones, we were like headstrong and we were like, okay, no, I felt like we had more energy with our first one. And then the second one kind of drains you. And then the third one, you're drained that you're like,
Bye, girl.
okay, listen, girl, just please don't kill yourself and we'll be cool. Like, do you feel, because I feel like that's kind of how my parents were with the younger siblings. Like, they let them get away with a lot more than they let us get away with when
Yeah,
we
I
were
can
their
see
age.
that. I can see that.
That
That's
makes
some
sense.
truth to it. But I also think too is because what worked for the boys does not work for her. Like it just doesn't work for her. Like I never had to count down. I never really had to like yell, honestly, with the boys. Like I can literally like just do a look or like, you know, a voice or something and they get it done. But with her, she is like, she challenges you. So she even challenges my husband, and everybody knows not to challenge him. Like the boys would never, but she even challenges him. So I just think it's just the
Every kid is different.
I guess so. I don't count down often because sometimes I snatch her up at 3. Like I don't even go to 1.
Don't even give
But
her an opportunity.
there's time, yeah. But there's times where I'm just not in the mood, and I do that countdown.
You
But
just hope she changes.
I'm hoping she gets to me by 1, or it's gonna be all bad. But I think that's where the guilt comes from, because I'm like, you said you weren't going to do that. So why are you doing it? Like, stick to what you said you were going to be, a mom. Come on, do it. Like, so the guilt kicks in, because then I feel like, damn, am I letting this little girl run all over me? Well, that's where my mommy guilt comes in.
What does your mom say? Like, has your mom seen her in action?
Everybody's seen her in action.
Oh my gosh. What do they say? Do they tell you you're too easy on her, or no?
No, because I don't think I'm easy on her. That's the thing. Like we go, but the thing is, like, me and her, we go round for round. Like, it's not that I'm easy on her. It's just that she puts up a fight with me. Like, where the boys would just give in, like they surrender really quick.
Strong-willed.
But she's not surrendering. Like, no, she's gonna keep on until it gets to a point where she knows that I'm like, look, like, you know, and then she'll be like, okay, she's not playing today, but she'll still try you.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it funny how people say like that kind of personality though is like admired when they're grown-ups? Like a strong-willed person is like more admirable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then it's like
absolutely.
something they are getting in trouble for when they're little.
I know, and it's so funny to see that how young it starts, because I feel like I'm like, I don't think it's nothing that we're doing. I think it's just strictly her personality. And me and my husband have come to realize, he told me the other day, he was like, I finally figured out whose personality she has, because we trying to figure out when she does stuff. I'm like, that's not me. I wasn't that kind of kid. I'm like, I didn't do shit like that. And it's not really, it's more my husband, but he was like, it's his mother. He was like, I finally figured. He was like, she is like identical to my mom.
Really?
And the more that I'm like, oh, I see you, little Lisa. I see you, little Lisa.
What do you mean? I don't know that side of Lisa. Oh my God, how funny.
Just like she's very, even though she's 3, she's like so strong-willed. And my mother-in-law, like, is very strong-willed. Like, she doesn't like take no for an answer right off the back. Like, if you say no, she'll figure out a way to make you say yes. And I feel like that's what this little girl does. Like, she's so strong-willed, and she's going to try to get what she can if you let her. Like, and
she'll wait it out until you surrender.
Oh yeah, she will. And and that's kind of like the mother-in-law. So we finally figured out whose personality she has for sure. 'Cause it ain't mine. Not mine. What about you, Janelle?
So, okay, so growing up, I feel like it was a little bit different growing up because I had my younger brother, he has special needs. So I feel like my mom had to parent him a little bit differently than how she parented us. And so she was constantly learning, you know, and like reading different books and going to different like conferences and stuff to try to like navigate through his upbringing and stuff. So I feel like she was always admitting that she had shortcomings, you know, like she was always admitting like, I'm not perfect, you know, and like I made a mistake, and like, so that wasn't something new. But it's so funny because even though she would always say she wasn't perfect, like in my eyes she was perfect, you know, because she was kind to us and loving. So, and I didn't see her shortcomings, you know, like I was just like, yeah, you're perfect. But she would always tell me that she wasn't. So I don't know. I feel like it was just it was kind of different growing up, seeing her like struggle. I definitely would see her struggle, you know, like there were times where we would go to the hospital because my brother would hurt himself, you know, and like I would see her break down. And so like I definitely saw like a different side of her, and her surrendering and like just being completely vulnerable, you know. So and I think that kind of opens your eyes, like, oh God, like what's gonna happen, you know, because the person who you think is in charge of everything, you're watching everything crumble, and you realize like, okay, anything can happen to anybody, you know, no matter how hard that they try to stay on like a good path. So but it's so funny that you said like drinking, because I remember like my parents drinking and it would make them happier. Like it would make them just kind of like relax. And that's when we would take advantage of it, and we're like, oh yeah, can we spend the night at this cousin's house? Yeah. So to me, it was never anything negative. You know? And it's funny because I remember like things that I said I would never do was more towards marriage than it was towards parenting. Like her parenting to us, like I feel like she was always like on point. Like she was always there for us, and she was always there to talk to us. And even though like, and she worked, there were times where she stayed home full time for like 6 years, then she worked for 6 years. So I feel like I've got a different
mixture of both, like,
of both, seeing her, but she was always there for us, you know. But as far as like relationship wise, there was a lot of things that I feel like her and my dad did in their marriage that I was like, I never wanted to get married, and like I'm married, like you know, like I always wanted to have kids, and I always wanted to be a mother, but I always said, like, my parents would always tell me, you need to be married to have a baby. So I was like, okay, that's cool, I'll get married to have a baby, but then I'm going to divorce them because I don't want to be married. So God. I was just like, I knew I didn't want to be married.
I know.
A 5-year-old girl who doesn't want to be married says that. Yeah. What? So, and then I remember my mom telling me, and we talked about this in the breastfeeding episode, like how bad breastfeeding hurt. So that was another thing. I was like, I'm never going to breastfeed. And then I tried it. I mean, I wasn't successful like that. I was, you know, breastfeeding for a year, but I did a good amount of time. So that was something that I said I would never do. I definitely said I would never, I would always listen to my kids, and I would always be patient because my dad was very impatient. So I was like, I'm never going to be like him. But dude, like I definitely have like that impatientness where I like snap, you know, like I'm
traits. Like I feel like some of those traits from our parents, like we can't help it, right?
Yeah. And maybe because we're so conditioned to like react a certain way that I feel like sometimes my son will look at me and be like, why are you so angry? And I'm like, I'm not. And then like I have to like recheck myself, like, am I coming across angry? I'm not. I'm just like,
is that your oldest son?
Yeah, my older one. Yeah. And now that he's getting older, he's catching me on things, and he's like, Mom, but calm down, I was just asking you a question, you know, like, why are you so upset? And then I'm like, and then I get even more flustered,
like,
you know,
like, ass up and get out of here.
I don't ask me why I'm upset.
What
I
are they
doing? 10 times.
Is that something the older kids are trying to do to us? Like make us feel some type of way? Because Devin does that shit, and he's like, Mom, calm down. I'm just playing. I'm like, don't play with me. I'm a grown. Like, I'm not to be played with. Games. I'm not to be played with.
But isn't it nice that they could like feel comfortable to have that conversation? Because I feel like I would never tell my dad, like, dude, calm down. Like, not that he is disrespectful at all, but like I would never feel comfortable to be like, geez, calm down. Like I'm not trying to be bad, you know, like what's the matter? I feel like are we doing something wrong? No, but I was thinking like maybe we're doing something right because they feel comfortable enough to tell us like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you so upset? Like, I'm not even coming at you.
But because you had a different relationship with your mom, did you have that? Were you comfortable enough to tell her something like that? You know what I mean? Like if she snapped at you, like without having the meaning of being mean, were you comfortable enough to tell her, oh, calm down, like I'm not, or why are you so mad? You know, is it because of the relationship was different?
I think I could read her, like sometimes like when her nostrils would flare, I was like, nope, I'm not even gonna mess with her. I'm not gonna tease her, you know. But then sometimes, you know, when when you know she's kind of like not fully there, you can like mess with her and be like, I'm not even, you know. So I guess maybe my nostrils didn't flare and then he got comfortable. I don't know. But another thing I said, I would never co-sleep with the baby.
Oh, that's
because of all the SIDS and stuff. I
that's a
remember
good
being
one.
so afraid and saying like, I'm never gonna co-sleep. And I did. I didn't do it all the time because my husband was afraid of rolling over on them, but I would do it every time they were sick with like a fever or congested. And I did do it pretty much every nap. Oh my God, the first two kids, like that was the only way to get them to like take a nap, was for me to like lay down with them. So yeah, I broke that one.
Isn't it crazy the parenting you did with your first one to with your you learn your lesson?
Now I never take naps with Ray because I'm like, no, because then I'll be a prisoner to my bed. And that's my only break in the day.
But do you have, like, say you guys are out of town, is it harder for Ray to take a nap because she's not used to being like in her room, or because she's used to being in her room? Is it harder for her to take a nap now if you're out of town or whatever?
No, because so if we're out of town, a lot of times I'll just skip the nap altogether.
Oh.
Or if we're driving around that time, she'll pass out in the car, and then sometimes I'll sneak her into a room and let her keep sleeping, and then I'll just kind of be the warm body, you know. But not really. No, she's not.
I'm struggling with Levi with that. Because I co-slept with Landon and he can fall asleep anywhere, but now I didn't do it with Levi, and he's only sleeps in his room, in his crib, and when we're out of town or when we're camping or whatever, it's like a shit show.
Oh man.
Will he fall asleep on you though? Because like with her, I would put her on me and then kind of rock her, and she would fall asleep.
He's not a snuggler because he's so used to being in his crib.
Own. And you know what? The white noise machine, I would, because we always used it from day one. So I would put it on my phone. Yeah. I would even put it on my phone too if I forgot it.
Yeah. I bring he has a little Scout or whatever. I think you guys, Janelle gave it to Landon when he was little. It's like a little teddy bear that has music. And he does it every time he goes to sleep. So I bring it with us and it still doesn't work. No. So I'm like, does anyone else have this issue?
Let us know in the comments if you guys have this issue too. I feel like she was a little bit easier to manage, but who knows, maybe because she was the third and we're so busy, you know? So if we are out and about during that time, like I try to always be home during nap time, but if we are out and about, I just kind of count it as a wash and I don't even try to put them to sleep, which sucks because then they'll fall asleep early or
be whiny after a certain amount of time.
Okay, another one. I always said, it really weirded me out. I would always say that I would never have sex with a baby sleeping in the same room, like whether it was a crib,
you freak,
or a cradle, you know, like a bassinet. And I broke that one. Yeah,
that is a really good one. I think everybody said that. Well, Marianne seemed like she didn't do it still.
She said, "You're a freak. You call me a freak."
I would put the kid like outside the door.
But what about like at night? I'm saying like at night you put the baby to sleep and then you get in bed with your husband and then you
get it cracking.
Yeah. We didn't have sex like the first when he was like a baby next to us though.
Even with Landon, your first? How long was he in
I had like no sex drive. When I but I put the kids in their own rooms at like 4 months old. Like
so did we. So that's 4 whole months without having sex with your husband.
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
Stay tuned for
that. That's why I'm like, oh.
Dang. Wow. All right. Well, that's what happened with me.
That's what happened.
Would you just let them like they were
awake?
No, it's when they're
They
asleep,
would be
right? When
sleeping.
they would be
Yeah.
asleep.
No, yeah, I would kind of be real weirded
Yeah, no,
out
they
if
would
they were
definitely be
awake.
asleep.
Like if I heard like a shuffle, I'd be like,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
please,
Like,
they're
oh,
waking up.
we had Harley's crib in our bedroom for the longest. Like I feel like
Yeah,
we
like
literally,
years.
yes, like literally,
What?
yes, for at least till she was 2 for sure. I feel like I just took her crib out like 2 years ago or a year ago. But I would throw the blanket over the like crib thing, like
To
so in
block
case
it.
she did, yeah, in case she did wake up, she didn't
She
wake
wouldn't
up
see
to my
daddy.
ass in the air or something, like, you know. I was like, at least put something down.
That's a good
It
idea.
wouldn't be like suffocating her.
No,
She
you
means
just
like
put it
hang it
over
over the crib
you know
on
where
one of
the
the
little
rails.
bars are, like you just put it
Yeah.
over there. So I mean
Oh,
On
everything,
like
one
a
side.
wall, like a
yeah,
wall.
yeah. Everything else was still open, but
What if
I
she
would have
stood
been
up?
traumatized. Luckily,
Well,
luckily
I
she
know
never did.
people who co-sleep with their
Yes, I do
toddlers
too, and
and
get it
still
cracking.
have sex while their toddler's sleeping in the same bed as them.
I know people too.
Marianne, you covered your mouth. Did you do that before,
No, I just
Marianne?
think that's so weird.
You said, like, I
That's so
caught you.
weird. No, because like I just had this conversation with my husband because I normally like I get super hot at night. So like I like to sleep like in a bra and chonies. I normally do. But like lately
Well,
Landon
then you should be getting it cracking all the time if that's how you
Landon's
sleeping.
been well now we get down all the time. They're like older. But like Landon's lately has been crawling into our bed like super early in the morning. I feel so weird in my chonies and he's like snuggled up next to me. So I'm like, get out, or I have to
But
sleep
you're
with
in
my
your chonies. At least you're not naked. I mean,
I
you're
don't know. I
someone
just
who
get
like will
weirded
cuddle
out
naked.
because he's like cuddles me. Like Leno will put his leg around my like body, and I'm like, ew, I'm in chonies. This is weird. Get out.
And you feel his little morning wood.
Yes!
Speaking of morning wood, do you feel their little, like they have little morning wood as
Yes.
babies?
Yes.
Have
They
you ever
do?
seen
Weird.
that? Yes,
Yeah.
little boys.
Yes.
Okay, also, so these ones are like, oh, never would I ever let the baby eat something off the floor. I feel like the first
5-second
child, I would
rule.
try to, yeah, second one, if your cookie fell on, hurry up and pick it up and eat it. I would, the same thing with the bottle falling on the floor or the binky and just kind of wiping it off your leg. Like that's.
Would you have you ever, when the pacifier fell on the floor, picked it up and put it in your mouth and then gave it to the baby?
No, that's weird.
Oh.
I feel like I was like that with Landon, like very cautious. But then with Levi, he just eats shit off the floor, and I'm
That's
like, oh,
the
he's
second
still.
baby. Poor second
Yeah.
baby. That's why I love that commercial where they're like, first baby, you're like, no, don't touch it. And then second baby, you're handing it to the mechanic.
Yeah, it's so true though. Oh, and you would hear about babies falling off the couch or rolling off of, whatever
Yeah,
all
every
the
baby.
time. And I'd be like, I would never. I freaking put
47
my
times.
first baby on the couch. He was only like 3 months, so he wasn't rolling yet. And I had him in the boppy pillow. And I turn my back, I come back, and this fool's on the floor. Like he literally rolled off the couch onto the floor.
And
like,
did you feel awful because it was your first baby?
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God, his head. What if he's? Yeah, no, it was awful.
And then when Max rolled off, did he roll off ever? You were like,
Max?
been here, done that.
Oh, you're okay. Just rub it.
No, I think it was my first one. No, Max had it worse, that poor kid. I'll get to that. He's on my list too. Oh, but before
He's a strong little kid though.
I always said, because you know how they say don't rewarm the formula? Like you give it to them freshly mixed, and then if they have leftover, you throw it out. Yeah, I used to rewarm that shit.
I think they say that. I didn't even know
Yes!
they. Who is they? Because
The
I
can.
didn't listen to they.
The
Instructions.
the back of the can. Okay, this one was like my worst one. You guys, I'm a horrible mom.
I'm gonna judge you.
Don't call social services on me. I
Janelle.
literally had to think of everything. So I used to take the babies, like say we would go somewhere and the babies are newborn, so they're in their car seats. You know how like you're always carrying around their car seat carrier everywhere? So I remember I would take her out and feed her, change her diaper, put her back in when we were at parties. Well, and then she would fall asleep. And then I would never check. Like there was a time that I didn't check that she was clipped in. And so we
She
put her in
came
the
out.
car and we got home and she was never clipped into her little car seat.
I think everybody has
I've done that.
Really?
Everybody has done that.
It was
And
And
awful. I felt
it's
so
usually the
bad.
husbands who do it, but sure.
No, it's me.
At least you didn't
Okay.
get to home and she was like on the floor, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, mom."
Or crawling out during the car ride.
One time I said I would never drop my baby. Obviously, you say you're never going to drop your baby, but my ass slipped down stairs. Like I had socks on and I slipped and I had my newborn in my hand.
Oh my god.
And I bounced all the way down the stairs with him.
What
Like
scared?
luckily
Where
I
were
didn't
you?
at my mom's house, at my parents' house. Yeah. It just my ass hurt. Imagine it right after you have a baby and you fall down on your
Ugh.
butt.
And did you start crying? Because you
Yes,
still,
because I thought I shook him. I thought I shook him too
Oh.
much.
Yeah.
And then there is, my first kid choked on a grape, but it was cut in half. Okay. You know how they're like, cut your grapes in half. Don't cut them in half, cut them in quarters. Make sure you cut those shits in quarters because he choked on a freaking grape
But
and
I
he
thought
turned blue. He
Who,
turned blue.
Jack?
It was Jack Jordan. Yeah. He was in his high chair. He had his little grapes. He ate one half. He started turning blue and it was just me and my father-in-law there. And he's like, oh shit, he's turning blue. And I like pulled him out of his chair. And I just remember Jack telling me, my husband, if he's ever choking, you beat the shit out of his back. And he's like, you don't tap it because you're not going to get it out. You have to like hit it really, really hard in like an upward motion. And so you start off, you think it's hard and then nothing's happening. And you're just like, oh my God,
Get
breathe,
down.
child. Yes. And I felt like I was just slugging his back, but obviously with my palm. And thankfully it came out. And oh my God, but he looked like he was gonna die. Like
How old was he?
He was purple. He was a year and a half, I think.
What?
30 year and a half.
Why did he
Yeah.
choke?
Well, I know there's some food that they say like I know hot dogs is a like #1 choking hazard for like kids.
And grapes are too. That's why I cut them in half.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'm a great mom, guys. Also,
we promise.
My kid's never gonna be sick. And the first year of daycare, he was sick. I swear.
But that's out of your control, though.
But my dad, oh my God, he made me feel so guilty because none of us were in daycare so young. My mom usually would stay home from work during our first couple of years of life.
But that was
and
like
so
in the 90s, right?
he would come and visit me and he'd be like, your kid's always sick. Like, you need to take care of him. And I'm like, I'm taking care of him.
I love your dad. He tell it like it is.
Okay.
But that's not 90s. That's why we didn't get sick. Like, I feel like in the 90s. Wait, are you guys from the 90s?
Yes, we are from the 90s. Yes.
No, we didn't really get sick like that, right? Like every once in a while, but
not as often. Yeah.
I played sick more than anything. I lied and said I was sick.
Yes, remember you would just lie. Okay, last 3 really quick. So my Maximus.
My Max. Down?
Remember I told you, you said, oh, has he fallen down? No, but that little guy, when he was 2, he got hit by a car. Do you remember that?
I did.
What?
And I remember you like.
No.
Yeah, I remember.
When he was 2 years old, we were holding hands, walking across the crosswalk.
Oh, in the park. Oh,
and
yes.
Car.
You were going
to
school.
He didn't see us because of the sun was setting behind us, and he said it shined in his, which I get it because it happens when the sun is really low, it blinds you. Well, he ended up coming and hitting us while we were in the crosswalk. Thank God he was at a stop and then he started rolling and coming rather than completely just like crashing completely. But it broke our hands. Like we were holding hands. It completely broke our hand. Max went flying and he was like under the car. And then I was like pounding on the car to get him to stop. And the guy came out and he was a kid and he was like freaking out and super apologetic. But thankfully, Max just had a bump on his head and he was like fine. We took him to the hospital, of course, and the whole thing. But That's what he tells. So after he gets his burn that just happened, he tells the firefighters as he's in the bathtub and they're checking his vitals, he's like, oh, I got hit by a car too. And I'm like, Max, like, you gotta tell. And he's like, I always get hurt.
They're gonna
I'm
call
like,
CPS on you.
I know. I'm
Did they turn and look at you like,
This bitch does not deserve
I
kids.
know. Take the kids from her.
did he really tell them that while they were?
He really did. While he was in pain in the bathtub, he was telling him, I got hit by a car too. Because they were telling him, you're a tough little guy. And he's like, yeah, I got hit
He's
by
like,
a
yeah, you're
car.
right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Because when I got hit by that car, I only had a bump.
I survived. Oh my God. Oh, and then there was that time where Ray was in her stroller. She was a newborn, and my son, he was 4 at the
Janelle,
time.
don't tell all these stories.
he pushed he pushed the newborn stroller over, and it got stuck sideways, and the baby was like hanging like this.
Oh,
Remember I told you it
Landon's
was like
done that.
it was like locked between two walls, so we were trying to pull the damn stroller up, and the baby was just dangling like this. It was, dude, who gave me kids? I don't know, but they're alive.
I don't know.
Thank the Lord, they're alive.
Good thing you don't have plants. Oh, you do.
Plants?
But that just goes to show, like, you can plan and you can say like how you're gonna be a parent and how you want things to go, and that shit does not go as planned at all. At all. You can even envision what kind of kids you think you're gonna have, and they don't come out like you think they're gonna come out.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like sharing it helps other people feel better. Like, oh, okay, I don't know if they're going to think like, oh, you're a bad mom too. That's great. We can relate on that. Or they're like, okay, we all have shit that happens to us, you know?
Yeah, honestly, because parenting is like trial and error, literally.
Yep.
And right after Max got his burn recently, I always wondered, oh, that's another thing. I always said, I will never post when I'm in the hospital room. Like, I would see pictures of kids in their hospital bed, and I'm like, why are you posting while your kid's in the hospital bed? Get off the phone, right? Like, focus on the emergency, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't realize how much time you're actually in the hospital room as staring at your kid doing nothing but like thanking God that they're still alive, you know? And so I'm sitting there, and I was the only one because of the COVID, they didn't allow 2 parents in. So I'm staring at him, and he's taking a nap, and I'm doodling on my phone. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to post about this because I want other moms to know, like, be careful about this freaking chicken noodle soup, or, you know, like it could happen to anybody so fast.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm one of those moms that posting while I'm in the hospital room. But I just felt like it was a sense of emergency to tell everybody, whoever's eating soup today, be careful.
On the hottest day of summer.
And
Yes.
it's good too, because then you use your platform to like let other moms know, like, shit, it's okay. Like, shit happens and it's out of our control. Like,
well,
really.
you know, I felt really, really guilty. Like, I felt like it was definitely my fault. And I felt like the adrenaline or the feelings of guilt didn't come in until like I got home, and my husband was like, how are you doing? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And then like at night, I just like broke down, and I was like, dude, he was so little on that gurney, you know, like they put him on the gurney to go into the ambulance, and he's so little, and he's hooked up to all the tubes and the IVs, and like he looked like E.T. Remember on E.T. the little the stickers and everything, and it just like broke my heart that I had to see him like that, you know, or any of your kids like that. Like, it's awful. But there was, and I felt weird posting it, but at the same time I wanted to help make it aware to other moms. And the feedback, I thought I was going to get like people saying you're a horrible mom because you let that happen, you burned your kid. But everybody was so kind, and they're like, shit happens, it happened to my kid, or, you know, and sharing all these stories. And I'm like, oh my God, that
I was about to fight you. I'm like, don't you dare sit there and say that.
I know it better really, not. Really helped with the mom guilt, like having the moms relate, or people say like, dude, this happened to my kid, like it happens, you know. That helps a lot.
We can relate, like, and never say never is my thing. Like, you don't know.
You don't know. You don't know what the hell you're gonna do in those situations either. Yeah. So if you are dealing with something or any of these things happen to you, let us know. Let us know. And no, it's not your fault. Shit happens to everybody.
And never say never.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, could you take a couple seconds to leave us a comment or a review below? Tell us how you related to today's episode, or leave us a topic suggestion you'd like us to cover next. Maybe something you're currently struggling with will allow us to better serve you in the next episode.